All right, welcome back to another After Dark, everyone. Hope you all are having a good night so far. Hope you guys had a good day. Hey, I got a long video here for you, and this one's totally for me. I found this on my feed, and I admittedly started watching the first like 3 or 4 minutes of this, and I'm like, you know what? I mean, if I think back, I've had quite a few requests to talk a little more about Dirk. So here's our chance. This video is titled "The Unbelievable Story of Dirk Nowitzki," and it's brought to you by a channel called JZ Uncut. I'm gonna link the original video down below in the description for you guys. This video came out this week, so actually it's a very new video. But yeah, I'm gonna link the original video down in the description for you. You'll also see a list of channel members. Shout out channel members. I appreciate you guys, especially, dude. At the end of the month, I got obliterated. I got obliterated with copyright claims, and then it actually kept following through. Get this though, you guys. Out of all the videos I did from the end of the month till now, you want to know the one thing that didn't get a copyright claim? The freaking Bruce Lee documentary. Of all things, like even the Barry Sanders one that got claimed, like the Bruce Lee one, and that came from like actual cable TV. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm so confused when it comes to YouTube's rules. Anyways, the whole reason I brought that up, shout out to members. I appreciate you guys having my back. Guys, let's get into the video. I want to talk more about Dirk, and also I'm pretty well versed when it comes to Dirk's history, but I know there's more I can learn, so I'm excited to learn a little more about Dirk's life, Dirk's career, and go through the journey. So everyone, please like the video. I'd appreciate it a bunch. It helps. And guys, let's do it.
In a league of titans, the game's most sacred names are spoken in duets. Jordan and Pippen, Shaq and Kobe, LeBron and Wade. One star rises, the other sharpens him. That's how it's always been. That's how it's supposed to be. But somewhere between the noise and all the banners, a different story unfolded. One not built on alliances or assembled might, but on silence, patience, and a fadeaway that floated like a whisper into the night.
Yeah, the
He didn't command
shot.
headlines. He didn't chase co-stars. He stayed in one city. He bore every loss. And when the moment finally came, when the bright lights burned hottest, he stood alone and did the one thing that none of the others could. No safety net, no second option, no shadow beside him. Just one man, one shot, one banner. This is the story of
Dude, him and Giannis both did it this crazy way, and I got to give them both credit for it. They did it the hard way.
He was a lanky, awkward kid from Würzburg, Germany, more interested in handball and tennis than basketball. Standing nearly a foot taller than his peers, Dirk Nowitzki was labeled a freak on the tennis court. No one, and I mean no one, could have envisioned him transforming into an NBA legend, a champion, and a global icon. Our story begins far from the bright lights of NBA arena.
I'll be completely fair. I didn't take him serious those first couple of years. He looked just like discombobulated out there. He looked clumsy. He reminds me of I forgot what it is in martial arts, but like the drunken master, the drunken fighting. He reminds me of that, because it's like, it took me a little while to realize, like, no, this guy knows exactly what he's doing. It just looks goofy while he's doing it, you know? But if you don't respect it and take it serious, he's gonna bust you for 50 or like for 40 points today.
In the quiet Bavarian city of Würzburg, Germany, born into an athletic family, Dirk Nowitzki seemed destined for sports, but not basketball. His early passions were handball and tennis, and while he thrived, his towering height made him stand out for all the wrong reasons. Dirk longed for a game where his size was a strength, not a stigma. That moment came in 1992, when the US Olympic Dream Team dazzled the world. Jordan's grace, Barkley's power, Pippen's control. It struck a chord. Basketball was Dirk's answer.
There it
At
is.
age 15,
the ripple effect of that dream team is amazing when it comes to international basketball.
Dirk joined DJK Würzburg and caught the eye of Holger Geschwindner, a former German national team captain turned basketball philosopher. Holger saw the game as art and Dirk as his canvas.
Yeah.
He rejected traditional weightlifting, believing it caused unnecessary friction. Their training blended art, science, and sport. To refine footwork, Dirk took fencing and waltz lessons. For rhythm, he learned saxophone and dribbled to live jazz. He studied physics to learn shot geometry, recited poetry, and even absorbed opera, building not just a player, but a complete individual. Then came the jumper. Using math and physics, Holger designed the perfect 45-degree arc, nearly impossible to contest. The drills were bizarre and brutal. Fingertip push-ups, deep squat jumpers, spins into shots. Every movement had a purpose. Every rep.
Let's be real. This is like Mick training Rocky, man. Like, catch the chicken. You want some speed? You gotta be like greased lightning. You know, like, I love this kind of old school training.
The Dirk into a weapon the world had never seen.
And then once you get to Rocky 5, when Mick isn't around anymore, Rocky goes back to his roots basically and starts like lifting logs and all kinds of crap to train, running through the snow, uphill through the snow. Oh man, that's some Walter Payton stuff right there.
Gonna see you in the NBA, maybe another Detlef Shrimp someday?
Oh, I hope so. I don't know yet.
After a year of intense training, Holger offered Dirk a pivotal choice: remain a local hero or fully commit to competing against the world's best. Dirk chose the challenge of global competition, dedicating himself relentlessly to daily practice, matching his mentor's eccentric genius with tireless determination.
Crazy.
By 16, Dirk was starting for DJK Versberg's professional squad.
Hey nerds, that's some Luke Skywalker and Empire Strikes Back training right there. Move the rocks.
Soon dominating Germany's second division league, his talent quickly captured attention overseas, culminating in the 1998 Nike Hoop Summit in San Antonio, Texas. Facing America's elite high school stars, Dirk delivered a stunning 33-point, 14-rebound performance, announcing himself emphatically to the basketball world.
Crazy.
Dirk Nowitzki, this
18 for 22 from the free throw line, 13 boards. Yeah.
17-year-old hard-working phenomenon with his special coach, who put him in cement shoes to make him run faster. It was very intriguing.
The German wonderkind.
The cool thing is like this has a similar beginning when it comes to the trainer and the trainee at Dirk here, as the Sabonis story did. The only difference is this guy actually has the best interest for Dirk in mind, as you'll continue to see as the story goes along.
Had officially arrived. The 1998 NBA draft was a storm of backroom deals and confusion. The Dallas Mavericks, a team stuck in a decade of losing, were desperate for a savior. GM Don Nelson wanted the lanky German, but he knew the other teams did too. So he pulled off a legendary draft day heist.
With the 9th pick in the 1998 NBA draft, the Milwaukee Bucks select Dirk Nowitzki from Würzburg, Germany.
The Mavericks officially picked Robert Tractor Trailer at number 6. The Milwaukee Bucks took Dirk Nowitzki at number 9. And a few moments later, the trade was announced. Trailer was going to Milwaukee. In return, Dallas got Nowitzki and another pick, Pat Garrity, who they immediately flipped to Phoenix for a young, unproven point guard named Steve Nash. In one move, Nelson had landed the two players who would change everything for the Dallas Mavericks franchise. Dirk and Nash became instant best friends. Two international guys trying to figure out a new country. But their first year together couldn't have been more different. For Dirk, the transition was a nightmare. The 98-99 season was cut short by a lockout, meaning no summer league, no real training camp, and a brutal schedule. From a 20-year-old from Würzburg, it was baptism by fire. Dirk Nowitzki arrived in the United States in 1998 with wide eyes and a quiet confidence. A 7-foot teenager from Würzburg suddenly dropped into the chaos of NBA life in Dallas. He barely spoke English, ate mostly pasta, and missed home so badly it haunted his first season. The culture shock hit fast. He didn't understand fast food drive-thrus, the locker room banter, or why his teammates kept calling him Rook. And on the court, well, that was brutal. Coach Don Nelson slotted Dirk at power forward, where his raw frame and unfamiliarity with the NBA game left him completely exposed. He was skinny, slow on defense, and unsure where to be on offense. Stronger, savvier forwards pushed him around with ease. Opponents bullied him, fans booed him.
I can just imagine the first time he took an elbow from Karl Malone. That must have been a wake-up call.
Media, they mocked him. They called him Irk Nowitzki, leaving off the D because, well, he had none.
Oh.
In his first NBA game, he went 0 for 5 and scored just 2 points. By the end of his first season, he was averaging just 8 points and 3.5 rebounds. It rattled him. At one point during that miserable rookie year, he called his mentor Holger and begged him to come back to Germany. Holger refused, told him to stick it out, told him that he was built for more. Dirk Nowitzki didn't go back to
See, well, what a guy for doing that.
Germany after his rookie season. Instead,
No,
he
we'll
stayed
train
in
you
Dallas,
harder.
bruised but determined. That summer became a turning point. Quietly, away from the spotlight, he made a vow. Never again would he feel that lost or that weak on an NBA court. Holger Geschwindner flew in from Germany and became a shadow in Dirk's gym sessions, obsessing over balance, shooting angles, and rhythm. Dirk finally started eating better, lifting heavier, and running harder. He put on muscle, improved his footwork, and focused relentlessly on his signature weapon, that high-arcing, off-one-leg fadeaway. He even studied English more seriously so he could fully understand his coaches and connect with teammates. He wasn't just training his body, he was rebuilding himself from the inside out. And when his second season began in 1999, it showed. Dirk was still awkward at times, but now he had confidence. His jumper looked smoother. He attacked closeouts, moved better without the ball. He no longer looked like he didn't belong. His scoring jumped to 17.5 points per game. He shot over 38% from deep and started punishing defenders who laughed at him that year before. He wasn't a star yet, but he was no longer a punchline. The Mavericks themselves began to shift. Don Nelson was fully in control now, both as a coach and GM. And the team was starting to revolve around a young emerging core. Dirk, Steve Nash, and Michael Finley.
Yes, sir.
Nash in particular became essential to Dirk's growth, both on and off the floor. The two clicked instantly. Nash brought the pace, creativity, and confidence to the offense, and Dirk fed off that freedom. They became close friends, roommates on the road, and eventually one of the most exciting duos in the league.
For sure.
The team still missed the playoffs in 2000, but
I mean, tell you the truth, that's how I found out about Nash for real, was just watching him with the Mavericks. Him and Dirk is that duo. Plus, I still liked Finley because Finley used to be a Phoenix Sun. So I won't say I was rooting for them because I was always rooting for the Suns, but I was watching them and I was interested.
Energy around them had changed. The Mavs were no longer the laughingstock of the league. Dirk wasn't a project anymore. He was a problem. And for the first time, Dallas had a future worth watching. Quick side note, if you guys are enjoying the video, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It would really help me reach my goal of 10,000 subs. Also, follow my Twitch where I stream Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern.
Yo, you only got 6,000 subs? This is a good channel, man.
As well as my Discord will be down below.
Hey guys, shout out. The link to this channel is down below in the description, okay? If you're interested.
Okay, back to the video. By Dirk's third year in the league, the questions had faded. He was no longer seen as an experiment or a soft European project. He was a matchup nightmare. Too quick for bigs, too tall for wings, and too skilled to be ignored. His shot had become a legitimate weapon. And though he wasn't fully comfortable being the guy yet, you could feel it brewing. Alongside Steve Nash and Michael Finley, Dirk helped push the Mavericks into the playoffs for the first time in over a decade. Dallas wasn't just relevant again. They were electric. New owner Mark Cuban had already made his presence felt. He was loud, hands-on, and willing to spend.
That I'm willing to commit as much money as it takes, whatever energy, funding, to make this team successful.
Cuban overhauled everything. Facilities, staff, equipment, even player nutrition. Dallas looked like a franchise with real infrastructure and ambition. Their first postseason test came against the Utah Jazz, Stockton and Malone.
What a
Tough,
pass.
experienced, and cold-blooded. The Mavs dropped the first 2 games and looked overwhelmed. But then, something clicked. Dirk, still shaky on defense, started playing with an edge on offense. He hit jumpers in traffic, drove to the rim with purpose, and showed flashes of this killer instinct that would define him years later. Dallas won 3 straight and advanced. But the reward? The Spurs. The Admiral and Mr. Fundamental himself. San Antonio exposed every soft spot Dallas had, and the series wasn't even close. San Antonio knocked them out in just 5 games.
Freaking
It was a
San
reminder
Antonio in the 2000s, man.
that Dallas was still climbing, still
Any
figuring
weakness any team had, they exposed it.
out how to win at the highest level. The next season, the Mavericks were even better. Don Nelson let Dirk loose, and the offense exploded. The ball zipped from Nash to Finley to Dirk, and teams just couldn't keep up. Dirk was playing with more polish, more composure, and more fire. He wasn't just floating around the perimeter anymore. He was mixing in post-ups, driving into contact, and hitting step backs with defenders draped all over him. They won 57 games and drew Minnesota in the first round. Kevin Garnett versus Dirk was billed as a battle of unicorns. 2 skilled, unorthodox forwards leading flawed but dangerous teams. Dirk absolutely dominated. In the clincher, he dropped 39 points and looked like the best player on the floor. That led them to Sacramento in the second round, a team loaded with talent and physicality. Chris Webber, Mike Bibby, Peja Stojakovic, Vlade Divac. They moved the ball like the 80s Celtics and hit you like the 90s Knicks. Dirk played well, But the Kings were deeper and nastier. They pushed Dallas around and closed the series out in 5. It wasn't a failure, but
Dude, check out Vladdy's pump fake here.
pushed Dallas around and closed the series out in 5. It wasn't a failure, but it was clear.
Awesome. It worked.
The Mavericks still lacked the grit and toughness needed to go the distance. Then came 2003. This was the year that Dirk arrived. Not as a star, but as a superstar. He played with a calm violence, a steadiness in his game that hadn't fully formed before. The Mavericks won 60 games and looked like real contenders for the first time in decades. Dirk wasn't flashy. He didn't talk much, but his footwork was surgical. His jumper was unguardable, and that fadeaway was starting to feel unfair. In the first round of the playoffs, they faced Portland. What looked like an
Okay, guys, most unblockable shots in NBA history. Kareem's skyhook, Michael Jordan's fadeaway, Dirk's fadeaway. Any others you guys can think of?
Series turned into a nightmare. Dallas jumped out to a 3-0 lead, only for the Blazers to claw back and force a Game 7. But Dirk saved them.
Dash out to Nowitzki. He's open. He got it.
He delivered when everything tightened, dropping key buckets and securing rebounds in traffic to close out the series. The pressure was immense, but he never flinched. Next came the rematch with Sacramento. The Kings are even stronger now, but the Mavs weren't afraid anymore. This series turned into an absolute war. Game 7 in Dallas, and Dirk took over. 30 points, 19 rebounds, and pure domination. This was definitely his signature moment up to that point. But then came, yep, you guessed it, San Antonio in the Western Conference Finals. Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and at the helm, Greg Popovich. The Spurs didn't just want to win. They wanted to grind you into dust. The first 2 games were tight, and Dirk was brilliant, matching Duncan step for step. But Game 3 changed everything. Dirk drove into the lane, collided with Ginobili, and came down wrong. His knee bent awkwardly, hyperextension, done for the series.
Damn.
He sat on the bench in street clothes, helpless as the Spurs closed them out in just 6 games. For the first time, the finals felt within reach, and it slipped away. That summer, Dallas made a splash. They traded for Antoine Jamison, looking to add scoring and depth. On paper, the idea was to overwhelm teams with offensive firepower. Dirk, Jamison, Finley, and Nash all sharing the load. But it was too much offense and not enough defense. The chemistry just never clicked. Dirk played well, but the Mavs lacked cohesion and structure. The result was a step backwards.
Yeah, unfortunately, we learned the same thing in Phoenix once Nash got here. No amount of offense can beat that San Antonio team. Well, except for we should have done it, maybe, but we never did it. We never really truly did it. So, yeah, that San Antonio team, unless you can stop them from scoring, their defense is going to be good enough to ruin your offensive scheme. You'll still get a bunch of buckets off, but it won't be like it is in a regular season, not against San Antonio. So if you don't have a good defensive scheme, good defensive players, it's over, man. It's over with the San Antonio team.
Made the playoffs again, but ran into the Kings for a 3rd time. They pounded Dallas physically, exposed their defensive flaws, and ended the series in 5. It was clear that this version of the Mavericks was not built to last. Behind the scenes, things were fraying. Dirk's closest friend on the team and his partner in the pick and pop was becoming increasingly unhappy with the direction of the franchise. He didn't feel valued. He wasn't wrong.
This week is better. Season starts better. We got to build now.
We had one specific goal and one specific purpose, and that purpose is sitting right next to me.
Then came the summer of 2004.
All right, welcome back. It's great for me to be back. My teammates and I have been working really hard. We think we're going to have a hell of a year.
Boy, did we have a hell of a year. We were box office TV that year, man.
$65 million. Mark Cuban refused to match it. He claimed that the budding point guard wasn't worth the money. Steve Nash was gone.
Yeah, and he's also commented nowadays saying that was the worst decision he ever made. Like the worst thing, but he was still new at the job, so he chopped it up to that. He thought he was making a good business move, but that's when he didn't learn about loyalty yet, and this is one of those situations. Tyson Chandler was another one of those where he says, "I screwed that up. I should have never let him go."
Dirk was crushed. He later called it the lowest moment of his career up to that point. Nash had been more than a teammate. He was his brother in arms, his translator in the locker room, his emotional anchor. Now, Dirk was alone, and for the first time, it truly became his franchise. That following season, something changed in Dirk. He didn't smile as much. He played with a different edge, a controlled rage.
It's funny, I didn't realize at the exact same moment where Kobe took over the Lakers, the same thing happened with Dirk, because the co-star was gone.
More deferring, no more looking to Nash to run the show. He owned every possession.
Growing pains.
Even with a revolving door at point guard and a new coach mid-season, Avery Johnson replacing Don Nelson, the Mavs held strong. Johnson
I liked Avery because it went from all offense for Dallas to a well-rounded team, and he was more defensive focused.
Discipline and defensive focus.
Hey, that's what I said.
Was still high-powered, but it wasn't the freewheeling chaos of the past. Dirk led the charge in the playoffs, starting with a bloodbath of a series against the Houston Rockets. Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming came out firing. Yeah. McGrady even declared it was over after going up 2-0. Man, that guy just does not learn, huh?
No,
but Dallas clawed.
I can't believe he did that too. I can't believe he did it.
Back. Game 7 was
we got one guy in Kobe saying, "What's there to be happy about? Job not done. Job done." Job not done. And we got T-Mac, who's one game away from getting out of the first round, and he's celebrating like relief. Oh man, I'm so relieved. I finally did it. I finally got out, and it's just like, dude, you didn't win yet. And then yeah, unbelievable.
Demolition. Dirk scored, rebounded, defended, and played like a man possessed. That was personal. The Mavs won by 40. Then came the second round and a familiar face. Steve Nash, now an MVP, now leading the most exciting offense in basketball. Suns vs. Mavs was pure fireworks. The series was close, but Phoenix had the better rhythm, the faster pace, and the deeper bench. Nash outdueled Dirk this time. The Suns closed it out in 6 games. But the Mavericks had turned a corner. They had a young core. Josh Howard, Jason Terry, Marquise Daniels. They had a coach who demanded accountability. And most importantly, they had a version of Dirk who wasn't just trying to fit in anymore. He was done playing nice, done waiting for his turn. The pretty boy Mavs were gone. The killers were coming. 2006 wasn't just another season. It was the season, the one where everything changed for Dirk. For years, he heard the same things. That
I think they get their revenge on the Suns this year, and they beat us. I think this is the year.
That he couldn't lead, that his numbers didn't mean anything when it mattered the most, that he needed Nash to shine, that the Mavericks would never win with a European as their best player. Dirk had no safety nets left, just pressure, and he welcomed it. From the start of the year, there was a shift in his demeanor. He wasn't animated, he wasn't loud. He was surgical, quietly devastating. He'd seen Nash go to Phoenix and become an MVP, and instead of sulking, Dirk responded by reinventing his game. He posted up more, took contact willingly, got to the line. His leadership may have not been loud, but it was unshakable. In the locker room, teammates said he was different now, more locked in, more vocal, more demanding. He wasn't just a part of the culture anymore. He was the culture, and it showed on the floor. Dallas ripped through the regular season with purpose.
Imagine that. The beginning of this story is Dirk's trying to fit in, learn the language so he can like bond with his teammates. So he becomes a part of the culture, and now he is the face of the team. It's wild. It's also wild to think Mark Cuban was holding on to 2 MVPs at the same time, and he got rid of Nash. Like, because Dirk was just a couple years out from being an MVP himself. It was just wild to think about.
Johnson had instilled a sense of structure and accountability that Dirk embraced. He wasn't just scoring, he was defending, rebounding, setting hard screens, and taking over in clutch moments. And then the playoffs came, and Dirk caught fire. First up was Memphis, a sweep, plain and simple, no celebrations, no extra noise, just straight up business. Then came San Antonio, a second round war that felt like a Western Conference final. Duncan versus Dirk. 2 franchises that hated each other. Every game was a grind. Every possession was a fistfight. Then came Game 7 in San Antonio. This was a career-defining moment. With less than 30 seconds left, Dallas was down 3. And, well...
Of the second half, Nowitzki goes right at Bowen. And the
3 the hard way.
One of the gutsiest and most unappreciated plays of his career. And, of course, he hit the free throw. The game went into overtime, and Dirk took over. That was supposed to be the hurdle, the mountain that they could never climb. The defending champs were out, and Dirk had answered every critic in one series. The conference finals felt lighter after that. Phoenix had the speed, sure. Nash had narrative, but Dallas had control.
Yeah, so this is when they got their payback.
50-point explosion in Game 5 was a masterclass in skill and patience. Just pure methodical dominance. Dallas won this series in 6 games. And for the first time in franchise history, they were going to the NBA Finals.
And this is when I started realizing no matter how good our offense is in Phoenix, a good defense is always beating us in the playoffs.
Well, we can't relax now as we did in Game 4. We came out slacking and they took it to us. So we got to be ready to play and we'll go from there.
All right, thanks for your time, Dirk. All right.
Dirk was finally on the mountaintop, but not for long. The 2006 finals were supposed to be a coronation.
Yeah.
2 games in, and it looked like one. Dallas crushed Miami in games 1 and 2. Dirk was efficient, poised, and unbothered. The Mavericks had all the momentum, and for a brief moment, it felt inevitable. A title, a legacy rewritten, a European-born superstar finally leading his team to the promised land.
Flies at him. Here's Nowitzki with another 3. Good. Dirk Nowitzki.
I'm remembering something, really. This is also why I was rooting for Miami to win this one. First of all, D Wade was my second favorite player, so Nash was my favorite at this time. And obviously, we just saw Dallas beat the Phoenix Suns. So you think there's no way in hell I was rooting for Dallas in this situation. I was pissed at them. So yeah, that combined with my fandom for D Wade at this time, it was a no-brainer for me.
It's another one.
And then we had Game 3 in Miami. Despite Dwayne Wade having 18 free throws in Game 3, the Mavs led late. Everything was clicking until...
If he gets you in a bad way underneath the basket, foul.
They choked the lead.
No.
Game 3 went to Miami after Wade's heroics. Game 4, another Heat win. The Mavericks looked rattled, and the tone of the series had completely changed. Dirk
so you guys who, and I know there's reason to believe it, who think that, D Wade got all the calls in his finals and all that. It was literally Avery Johnson's strategy to foul him every single time he went to the basket. So they were just calling the fouls.
Free throw that could have tied it late. The ball bounced off the rim, and with it, their control slipped further away. Wade had taken over, but the officiating had started to cast a long and bitter shadow. Then came Game 5, the moment where everything broke. Dallas led by 1 in overtime. Miami inbounded. Dirk screamed at his teammates to foul before Wade could drive, and they didn't. Wade got into the paint again.
Almost goes down. All right, and now
he tried. But he didn't try hard enough.
Again.
Yeah, like right here, you need to foul him. You know he's about to drive to the basket. But he's going to try, but he's not going to make it obvious enough. Dude, push him. Shove him. Do whatever you got to do. Hack him.
Down.
See, he just kind of like pulls on the arm a little bit, but it's not evident. You got to foul him.
And now,
so it took Dirk to put hands on him there. And by that point, D Wade's already airborne. 2 free throws. Big mistake.
Splits through. He gets caught on the leg.
Foul. Free throws. The same script. But what followed was worse. After the game, Mavs owner Mark Cuban exploded. So did head coach Avery Johnson. And in the tunnel, after yet another Wade free throw parade, Dirk kicked a stationary bike in disgust. That singular clip of Dirk losing control became the image of this NBA Finals. Game 6 back in Dallas was suffocating.
I feel it, man. Coach Avery, Mark Cuban, I get it. I respect you guys. But your strategy was literally to foul him every time he went to the paint. This isn't the 80s where you can just like hack Jordan all the time and not get the calls. Like at that point you could body slam the guy and they wouldn't do a damn thing about it, the refs. At this stage in the mid 2000s, yeah, dude. Every time you hack a guy who's going to the basket, they're calling that.
Desperate and nervous.
But I think that was the strategy anyways. I think what Avery was trying to do there was to see how clutch is this young man, Dwayne Wade. Because we're in the finals here. So if I put your ass on the line all game and you have to deal with that pressure over and over again at the free throw line, can you do it? But the thing is, after one game, he proved that he's going to do it. So the strategy should have changed at that point, and maybe try to trap Dwayne Wade a little more when he goes to the basket, a la like what San Antonio and Boston did to LeBron in his Cleveland years. Dare him to come to the basket. And if you do, we're going to trap you. Only problem with D Wade is he had a great mid-range jumper. So you just got to trap him the second he gets inside the 3-point line. Dare him to shoot the 3. that was Dwayne Wade's weakness.
The magic was gone. Wade couldn't be touched without a whistle. The Heat closed the game, the series, and the Mavericks. It was over. Dirk had led his team into the finals. He had outdueled Duncan, outlasted Nash. He had climbed the mountain and come within one win of the title. But now, all anyone wanted to talk about was the loss, the choke, the missed free throw, the so-called meltdown. Hold up. I can't move on with our story without mentioning this. Dwayne Wade attempted 97 free throws in the 2006 NBA Finals. That's not a typo. 97. And, well, he made 75 of them. In Game 5 alone, Wade shot 25 free throws. That was more than the entire Mavericks team combined. Anytime he drove, arms flailed, whistles blew, and the scoreboard shifted. We live in an era now where fans lose their minds watching Shai Gilgeous-Alexander do a head fake and draw a foul. They scream about foul baiting and manipulating the refs. But if those same fans sat down and watched the 2006 Finals, they'd be clawing at the wall. Wade was practically sponsored by the whistle.
Oh, that was bad. Okay, I know you guys are killing me in the comments right now. I understand some of these calls were bogus. They were. Okay? I'm just saying the strategy was to put him on the line intentionally. But two things can be true at the same time. He also got a lot of bogus calls. Like, he got put on the line more than he should have. I'll meet you guys in the middle there. I agree. But also the coaching strategy should have been different after D Wade proved that he's going to make every free throw.
Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest. I'm a big Dwayne Wade fan, but I just can't move on without mentioning that. Anyways, the league fined Cuban. The officiating crew came under fire, and behind the scenes, there was a real outrage in Dallas. Even veteran players felt the league had forced a narrative that the
also, last thing I'll say about this, back then, we didn't know what foul baiting was. We didn't have a term for it. It wasn't until James Harden made it. He just took it over the top. So we're in that little gap right now where people are getting away with this, and we don't understand how we should deal with this. You know, how do we take away from this? And then after James Harden took it to the edge, you know, MVP Harden, the league decided around, I think it was 2019 or something like that. That, okay, that's it. No more foul baiting. We're not going to give you guys the call. If the offensive player initiates the contact, which you can see Dwayne Wade is doing a lot here, that's now against the rules. That will either not be called or be called an offensive foul. Now, they started doing that for a little while, but if you guys didn't notice, when it comes to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they stopped enforcing that rule. Now, if he initiates the contact, they're still giving him the call and putting him on the line. I don't like that. Because what D Wade was doing was before there was a rule established. Same with James Harden. There was no rule established yet, so they weren't technically breaking any rules. But now, it's a little fishy.
Skating wasn't just inconsistent, it was targeted. But none of that mattered in the end. The record books don't keep excuses, only results.
Okay, I'm going to be real. This is a foul.
Targeted, but none of that mattered.
That's a defensive foul because he's still moving. You know what I mean? If he would have planted himself and drew the charge, that would have been one thing. Or you got to get out of the way and not make that body contact. But if you're walking backwards and still making body contact with a guy who's shooting a layup, you're not planted.
The end. The record books don't keep excuses, only results.
Dirk I'll stop the nerd stuff right now. I swear to God, I'll stop.
To Germany that summer emotionally shattered, exhausted, embarrassed, and worn down from carrying a franchise that had collapsed under the brightest lights. Everyone around him said the same thing. Dirk was inconsolable, not angry, just broken. He had tasted the finals. He had felt how close it was. Fairly or not, he was now branded with a new label.
Don't worry about it, Dirk. Rings championships are weird, man.
Choker. The season after the finals collapse should have been redemptive, and for a while, it was. Dirk came back and was playing out of his mind. More efficient than ever, more in control, more ruthless. He led the Mavericks to 67 wins, the best record in the NBA. Dirk was nearly automatic from mid-range, and late in games, he was calm and surgical. He wasn't chasing stats, he was chasing closure. He won the league MVP, but the celebration never came, because what happened next would become one of the darkest chapters in NBA history.
This was so
bad. The
bad.
Mavericks, as the #1 seed, were matched against the 8th-seeded Golden State Warriors.
We believe Warriors.
They were led by Baron Davis and coached by Dirk's old mentor, Don Nelson. The Warriors had beaten Dallas twice late in the regular season and had perfect personnel to harass Dirk. Long wings, quick traps, no fear. Golden State came out with energy and chaos. The crowd in Oakland was volcanic, and Dirk, he vanished.
He heads back to the bench in what has been a nightmare.
And I'll be completely real. Let me know in the comments how you felt at this point. At this time, I gave up on Dirk. I didn't think he had it mentally. Just mental toughness wise, I didn't think he had what it takes. I'm glad he proved me wrong. We'll get there. We'll get there. But I just got to be honest, man. I was wrong. I was wrong about this man.
Doubled him before he could turn, swarmed him on the catch, baited him into bad shots. His teammates looked frozen. His body language sagged. Game 6 ended in a disaster with Dirk shooting 2 for 13. And just like that, their season was over. A number 8 seed absolutely embarrassing the number 1 seed. Dirk's MVP speech came days after the elimination in a small, awkward hotel ballroom. No celebration, just shame. People have come to the conclusion
Dirk
that
has talked about this recently too and said that was the darkest moment, the worst moment. Like he said, I didn't want to accept the MVP. I don't feel I deserved the MVP at that point because, you know, that's the only problem I have with them giving a regular season award to a player during the playoffs. You know, they should probably just do that at the end of the season. Like, we know who's going to be the MVP by the last game. Like, I don't know. But they did it like this, and he didn't even want it. They were already eliminated from the playoffs. So it's like, what the hell? I don't know. I don't know, man. I would feel like absolute crap if I was Dirk too. That would be a dark moment.
And Dirk wasn't a leader.
Imposter syndrome has to be like off the charts in that moment.
That he couldn't rise under pressure, that he would never win. And for a while there, they were right.
Yeah.
The next season was turbulent. Dallas looked like a team still stuck in a fog. They were still good, but the trauma of 06 and 07 lingered. Then in February, they made a massive trade. Devin Harris and draft picks for Jason Kidd. The Mavs were banking on Kidd's experience, leadership, and floor general skills to unlock their championship window. But it didn't click right away. Kidd was older, slower, and still adjusting to Avery Johnson's system. Dirk, meanwhile, was caught in between, trying to maintain his dominance while adapting to a roster now in flux. He still carried them to 51 wins, but the team lacked a certain rhythm. And then came the playoffs, where they got bounced in the first round again, this time by Chris Paul and the rising New Orleans Hornets. It wasn't close. CP3 carved them up. Dallas looked outdated,
young CP3 was crazy,
and tired. Avery Johnson was fired after that series, and with him gone, the Mavericks lost whatever structure identity they had left. The fast-paced, freewheeling offense of the Don Nelson era was long gone, and now the rigid, defense-first approach under Johnson had collapsed too. The team was stuck in between. No longer young and fun, but not disciplined or cohesive enough to contend.
Let's be real, they needed both of them. But both coaches were great, but one needed to be not a head coach. And I would say Donnie should have probably been the head coach and then have Avery be the assistant coach where he just focuses on the defensive scheme. Because Donnie just loves offense, dude. He's like Mike D'Antoni, same kind of mindset. They just think of basketball as offense. So that's cool. Do it. Have the best offense in the league. But we need somebody who's going to teach these guys how to play defense and hold that expectation as well. It's not that they had the wrong coaches. It's that they needed both, in my opinion.
Was 30, and for the first time, it felt like his window was finally closing. That was true until Rick Carlisle entered. Smart, poised, and methodical. Carlisle brought stability, and more importantly, he empowered Dirk to take complete control.
He almost did it again, too, this year.
Dirk responded. He was efficient and unguardable as always, but the team around him still lacked that final gear. Kidd was a better fit now, and Josh Howard, Jason Terry, and Brandon Bass gave them depth, but they still weren't elite. They faced the Spurs in the first round. Still dangerous, still loaded, but Dirk lit them up. Game 3 was a vintage performance. Fadeaways, turnarounds, dagger jumpers. Dallas took the series in 5 games. It felt like that corner had finally been turned. Then came Denver and Carmelo Anthony, hungry and in his prime. The Nuggets were faster, deeper, and nastier.
Giggity.
Dirk had no help, and Game 3 was the backbreaker.
Have one more chance. Dirk will win. Not gonna happen. The Nuggets, ecstatic, Mark Cuban and company, as you would imagine.
The refs also
shout
didn't
out
call.
to Josh Howard. He was a big part of this team.
Follow on this. Even the league admitted it afterwards, but that didn't change the outcome. Denver closed them out in 5 games. Another year.
He fouled it. He fouled him right off the get.
But that didn't change the outcome. Denver closed them out in 5 games. Another year Another playoff exit. All right, guys, stay with me now because we're almost there. The Mavericks made another win-now move, trading for Caron Butler and Brendan Haywood mid-season. It worked. Dallas finished with 55 wins and looked dangerous again. Dirk was consistent and still one of the league's most efficient scorers. He had mastered his spots. Nobody could block a shot. But in the playoffs, they drew San Antonio.
Oh, he McDice. Oh, man. All right, J.K. Caron Butler. Sean Marion's on board now.
Again. This was a strange series. Dallas won game 1 easily, but then it unraveled. The Spurs baited Dirk into taking everything by himself. He really tried, but his teammates disappeared. Caron Butler wasn't healthy, Kid looked old, Sean Marion was inconsistent, and Dallas lost in 6. After the series, the media did what they always did. They blamed Dirk, called the Mavericks frauds. They questioned if Dirk should just leave, go chase a ring somewhere else. He was about to turn 32, but as you guys know, Dirk didn't run.
Hey, there was a flirted trade that was being proposed between the Lakers and the Mavericks. 1-for-1 trade, as far as I understood it. Dirk for Kobe. I'm not making it up. I literally, it was. I heard it from a couple of people, but the most important one was Mark Cuban himself, and he said he was willing to do anything to get Kobe to Dallas. But the one thing that they wanted was the one thing he wasn't willing to do: get rid of Dirk, because his idea was Kobe and Dirk. You know what I mean? So the funny thing is he tells a story that he talked to Dirk about it because he said there's a possibility of getting Kobe here, and Dirk was all on board. But then when he told him we couldn't do it, he was like, yeah, well, they wanted me to trade you. And Dirk was like, you should have done it. Like, he was like, that's Kobe freaking Bryant. You should have traded me for Kobe. But this is the grown-up Mark Cuban at this point. So he learned loyalty, and he made the right choice. And in hindsight, I mean, it would have been a wild experience to see Kobe as a Dallas Maverick, but I'm glad we didn't live that timeline.
Strap in, because here we go.
Let's go!
The 2010-2011 Mavericks weren't supposed to win the NBA title. They were too old, too slow, too European. Miami had just formed a juggernaut. Boston still had their big three. The Lakers were gunning for a three-peat. San Antonio had reloaded, and OKC had finally arrived.
All right, guys, get ready for one of the wildest playoff runs in NBA history. The Dallas Mavericks.
They were afterthoughts, but internally, something was different. Tyson Chandler had changed the entire defensive culture. Jason Kidd was reinvented, no longer the fast break artist, now a half-court sniper and defensive savant.
I know, after all these years, he finally got a jumper.
Sean Marion was doing the dirty work. Jason Terry was still the flamethrower. JJ Barea was chaos in a tiny body. Rick Carlisle had finally figured out the formula. And at the center of it all, Dirk. Calm, brutal, relentless. They opened the playoffs against the Trailblazers. Game 1 had your vintage mid-range fadeaways. Game 2, 33 points. But Game 4 was the test. Dallas blew a 23-point lead, and Brandon Roy went nuclear. People started to whisper again, but not this time.
You guys remember Brandon Roy? That dude was a bad man. Stupid
with 25
injuries.
Points in Game 5, then buried Portland with 33 in Game 6. No panic, no collapse. Just cold execution. Then came the defending champion Lakers. Kobe Bryant, Phil Jackson, Pau Gasol, 3 finals appearances in a row. The Mavericks weren't just underdogs. People expected them to get embarrassed. Game 1 was a statement. Dirk hit big shots late. Dallas stole it. Game 2 was a bit tighter, but Dallas sealed it. Game 3, utter dominance. Game 4 was
also,
bloodshed.
I don't think I'll ever live to see a four-peat because, we've seen every single team. We've seen how beat up the Bulls were by the end of 93, how beat up they were by the end of 98, and then how beat up the Lakers were by the end of their three-peat. And then you go back to this situation where the Lakers didn't three-peat, but they did go to the finals 3 straight years and it won 2 out of the 3. At a certain point, you got to run out of gas, and this was just one of those situations. The team, I think the Lakers ran out of gas at this point. But also, not to take anything away from Dallas, Dallas had a chokehold. They weren't messing around.
Dallas won by 36. Jason Terry hit 9 threes.
To Terry for 3, yes! 9 3
Yeah, it's hard to stay hungry after you're winning that much, but Dallas had never won. Like, they were so hungry. All these dudes.
Berea carved the Lakers up, and Dirk, calm and as efficient as always.
The greatest Dallas Maverick ever.
It was the final game of Phil Jackson's coaching career. The Mavericks humiliated the defending champs.
We knocked the champ out. Now it's time to go handle the rest of our business.
Yep.
Next came the Oklahoma City Thunder. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James
Harden. You guys
Harden.
imagine you just took out the championship Lakers. Next thing is this young squad. These, oh man, I can't believe, I always forget about this series right here.
Athleticism, speed. Game 1 was the warning shot. Dirk dropped 48 points. 15 of them were free throws, but he shot 12 of 15 from the field. One of the most efficient, unguardable playoff performances ever.
Nowitzki, little fake, pull up, puts it in.
The Thunder pushed them. They had fire, but Dallas had composure. They came back from down 15 in Game 4, with Dirk scoring 12 straight in crunch time. Game 5 was a wrap. Dallas was headed back to the NBA Finals.
For the second time.
All right. So they get through the champions. They get through the young OKC squad. Now what's waiting for them? The biggest super team we've ever seen at this point.
It's history. The Dallas Mavericks will play for the NBA championship.
One team doing it the right way. You know, the Dallas Mavericks. Another team basically cheating to the finish line.
After the most painful collapse of his life.
David versus Goliath, you guys. Sorry, I'll stop pausing. But this is how I felt during this series. Going into it, I'm like, oh my God, Dirk, if you can pull this off, man, like you're we will never let time forget you if you can pull off this heist and win this championship. Like, I still can't believe it.
Dirk had clawed his way back.
NBA Finals, here we come.
Dallas wasn't supposed to be here. Not in the era of super teams, not with an aging roster and no all-stars outside of Dirk. They weren't flashy, they weren't marketable. They were built, not assembled.
Yep.
And at the center of it all was a 32-year-old German who had spent a decade chasing ghosts. Meanwhile, on the other side, Miami had the blueprint. The big three, the Heatles, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. 3 future Hall of Famers all in their prime, standing under the brightest spotlight the NBA had seen since Jordan. The Heat were younger, faster, deeper.
Giggity.
The title was already being engraved. This
Wait,
one,
let's be real. It's blurry.
Isn't supposed to be a fight.
I can't read that. I want to.
Deeper.
Okay, wait, there we go. Let's be real. It doesn't matter whether LeBron or Wade can't decide on who is playing the roles of Jordan or Pippen in any of these games. The point is that both of them are damn good. Too good for Dallas to beat them, even if the Mavericks are playing their A game. Yeah, that's how we all felt going into this. Like, this is the impossible series for Dallas to win. In fact, I felt bad for Dirk and J Kidd and Sean Marion, because it's like, this is your one opportunity and you're not going to get it.
The title was already being engraved.
The problem is here, the role was actually very, very evident. The guy who was playing the Jordan role in this series was D Wade. What ruined it is LeBron was supposed to be the facilitator, the Pippen type of guy, right? And he was terrible at it, you guys. He was terrible. When the ball is not in LeBron's hands, LeBron does not know what the hell to do on offense at all. And then on defense, he got killed too. But yeah, D Wade was trying to play his role, but he was like, where's my number 2? Where's my Robin? And Robin was nowhere to be found.
This one wasn't supposed to be a fight, but Dirk never cared about supposed to. Let's start with Miami taking game 1. Wade and LeBron were flexing, hitting deep threes, strutting back down the floor. American Airlines Arena felt like a coronation.
Wade, alley-oop to
Yeah, this just felt unfair.
But Dirk still managed to drop 27 points despite tearing a tendon in his left middle finger. He didn't flinch. He just taped it up and kept going.
I don't remember that. I knew he was sick. I forgot about the injury. Wow. Freaking Rocky Balboa.
Supposed to be a moment, but in hindsight,
27 points, 7 for 18, 12 for 12 free throws. You kind of made up for it there. 8 rebounds. Good, but not good enough in the finals. Not against this Heat team.
Told you everything. The Mavericks may have lost the battle, but Dirk had just drawn his sword. Game 2 was where history began to shift. Miami went up 88-73 with 7 minutes left in the fourth. The Heat started to showboat again. Wade hit in a dagger and holding his follow through for the crowd. But Dallas didn't fold. Dirk orchestrated one of the most cold-blooded comebacks in finals history.
The irony is he reversed the script. When the first time when it was just D Wade and Shaq versus the Dallas Mavericks in the finals, the opposite was happening. Dallas went up with the early lead in games, and then the second half of I believe it was game 3, D Wade's like, I ain't going out like that. And then they turned the series around and won the championship. The exact opposite is happening here, except for instead of 2-0, the lead here is 1-0. But the same thing happened. You got overconfident, and then guess what? Somebody came in and sniped you.
A 22-5 run to close the game. Fingers still taped, he scored the final 9 points, including
Nowitzki drives with underneath lefty layup, banks it in with 3.6 remaining.
That was the moment the Heat looked around and realized they weren't just playing a team. They were playing a man who refused to die. Game 3 was the swing game. Series
I'd be
tied
willing to say
1-1.
even if Dallas lost that game, they would have sent a hell of a message. Like, don't get overconfident, you weirdos. Like, we're coming after you.
Pressure building. Dallas fought hard, but Miami eked out a 2-point win. D Wade hit tough shots, Bosh came alive late, and LeBron did just enough to put the Heat ahead. But the real story hadn't surfaced yet. Between games 3 and 4, news broke. Dirk was sick. Not just a sniffle, fever over 101.
The night before, I go home and start shivering a little bit. It started to get cold. I was like, I'll probably just need to go to bed and I'll be great tomorrow. But it just didn't happen that way.
He looked like a ghost in warm-ups. Still, he said nothing publicly. No excuses, no drama. LeBron and Wade didn't keep it quiet, though.
Think I'm sick.
Yeah, you're about to be sick, man. You're about to be sick in a couple more days.
Dirk, publicly, before Game 4 of the NBA Finals. They thought it was just a laugh. What they really did was
that's
hand
how
Dirk
confident they were, by the way, you guys. That's how confident all of us were that the Miami Heat were going to win. And win and win and win for years to come. They felt the exact same way. There is no way they're going to lose. And look at them just playing around.
Final page of his redemption arc. Dirk never responded to the mocking. No press quotes, no trash talk. He just walked into Game 4, visibly ill, red-faced, towel wrapped around his neck during timeouts, mouth hanging open to breathe, and still
look
he
at that
kept
with the Jordan
going.
tongue.
The Mavs trailed most of the night. Wade was on fire again.
You got no energy and you're sick. You can't play. Summon the Jordan. Summon the Jordan in you.
He kept going. The Mavs trailed most of the night. Wade was on fire again. Dallas couldn't find a rhythm. But Dirk stayed close. And in the fourth quarter, he took over. Down 9 with 10 minutes left. Dallas started crawling back. Kid hit a corner 3. Terry banged in a step back. Chandler got a huge tip out. And with 14 seconds left.
Yeah, what a dude. I always talk about usage of glass and the angle and the English used. Look at this.
Tip out.
He's going to hit the backboard
14 seconds left.
Look at that. He hit the backboard like right here. And it's still spun somehow, and it's just beautiful layup. That is not easy.
The Mavs won 86-83. The series was tied. Dirk walked off dripping in sweat, barely able to lift his head, but he just landed a body blow that rattled Miami to its
don't make
core.
fun of a sick man. Don't try to kick a guy while he's down.
Dallas, series tied 2-2. Momentum
That's
even,
like messing with a hungry dog.
Now, it was Miami who looked unsure. They looked shaken. This game was Dirk's supporting cast stepping up. But make no mistake, it was still his game. Barea got hot, and Chandler controlled the glass, Terry hit huge shots, but the biggest shot of the night, maybe the entire series.
High arcing 3.
Wow.
Oh!
Wow, talk about high
Wade had a chance to tie it late, missed 2 free throws. LeBron, just 2 points in the fourth quarter.
Let's choke.
He had a chance to tie it late, missed 2 free throws. LeBron, just 2 points in the fourth quarter. Had a chance to tie it late, missed 2 free throws. LeBron, just 2 points in the fourth quarter.
This is your king?
Dirk outplayed the super team again, and Dallas took a 3-2 series lead.
The Jet, the man with enough confidence. Hold up, can I
Dallas
see it?
took
To put the Larry O'Brien trophy to tattoo it to his body.
Series lead.
Speaking of Larry Bryan Trophy, shout out to members. How y'all doing?
From the veteran Dallas Mavericks.
Back in Miami, the tension was thick. The pressure wasn't on Dallas. It was on the Heat, on LeBron, on Wade, on the not 1,
not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5,
not 6,
not 6, not 7.
Dynasty that was supposed to start here. Dirk came out tight. He missed 11 of his first 12 shots. And for a moment, it felt like the ghosts of 2006 were back. But they weren't, because this time he had help. Jason Terry was brilliant. 27 points, confident, fearless, clutch. Barea got into the paint again and again. Marion defended like his life depended on it. Chandler did all the dirty work. Kid steadied the ship. And then Dirk came alive. In the second half, he found rhythm, fadeaway, elbow jumper, transition layup, hook shot, and then the dagger. With just under 2 minutes left, he caught the ball on the right wing, sized up Bosch, and dropped in a rainbow fadeaway.
Nowitzki makes it a 10-point
Mavs up 9. Miami
finally
stunned.
There, Mark. You're finally there.
And LeBron frozen. Dirk
the frozen one?
Mavs up 9. Miami stunned. Wade and LeBron frozen. Dirk walked straight back to the bench, head down, emotion bubbling up. Then he walked into the locker room. No media moment, no glory chase, just solitude, just tears. He had waited 13 years for this. When he came out, the game was over.
The Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Their first title in franchise history.
The arena was silent, not in awe, but in disbelief. Dirk Nowitzki had slayed the most talented team of the era. He had taken down a super team with no other superstar beside him. After being mocked, after being doubted, after being torn apart into no other superstar beside him. After being mocked, after being
9 for 15, 7 for 9. Ooh, 6 for 16, D-Wade.
Doubted, after being torn apart in 2006. He stood on that stage with a finals MVP trophy and said nothing boastful. No jabs, no revenge speech, just gratitude. Because he didn't need validation anymore. Dirk Nowitzki did what Jordan never had to, what LeBron never pulled off, what Kobe, Duncan, Steph, and Shaq never even faced. He won an NBA championship with 0 other all-stars. No super team, no second banana, no exit route. Just one man, one team, and
I guess we got to throw Hakeem Olajuwon in there too for their first championship at least. And then Giannis, and it's hard to think of other players who pulled this kind of heist off. Let me know in the comments who else, because it's true. It's always usually a 1-2 punch, or nowadays a 1-2-3 punch.
Long, painful, miraculous journey.
Nice.
Dirk never won another ring after 2011, and in truth, he didn't need to.
It's been an amazing ride, amazing journey. I was lucky enough to spend 13 years with the greatest fans in the NBA.
That title was the mountaintop. Everything he spent his career chasing, everything he'd been denied. But he didn't walk away after that. He didn't vanish like some storybook hero riding off into the sunset. No, Dirk kept playing, not for glory, not for validation. He kept showing up because that's who he was. Over the next few years, the league shifted around him. I like that
respect between him and Kobe, by the way.
Pace quickened, big stretch to the floor because he had proven that it could work. Super teams multiplied, and while Dallas made a few playoff pushes, they never had enough. Cuban tried. There were swings and misses, recruiting pitches, last-minute trades, but the Mavericks never found that second star. They never found Dirk's Pippen. So he stayed loyal, and the city of Dallas stayed loyal in return. Mark Cuban made sure Dirk was always taken care of, not just with money, though he did that too, offering max deals even when Dirk insisted on taking less. It was respect for the years, for the pain. His role in the team. I'm glad I
talked about it in the beginning, because this is a mature Mark Cuban now who understands loyalty. And Dirk could have left at any point he wanted to. So he was loyal to Mark. So Mark, of course, is going to reward the hell out of him towards the end. And it doesn't matter. It was his team. He can make those choices. You want to pay him max money when he's not giving max production? Same thing Jeannie Buss did with Kobe at the end.
The legs got heavier, the minutes shorter, but that jumper, that one-legged fadeaway, still pure, still automatic. In his final season, he took on a quiet, crucial role, mentoring the next face of the franchise, Luka Doncic, the rookie phenom from Slovenia, carrying enormous expectations, walking into the league with hype Dirk and never been given.
And now it's all ruined, man. Mark is gone, so the loyalty is all gone. Luka's gone. Dirk is still around, but like I'm sure it doesn't feel the same for him now that Mark is gone.
Passing of the torch that rarely gets talked about. No cameras, no headlines, just moments, locker room advice, film sessions, practice floor conversations between two European legends. One beginning his story, the other writing his final chapter. Dirk didn't chase farewell tours or orchestrated exits. He didn't care for the spotlight. But when the time came, when he announced that this was the end, the league showed up for him. Standing ovations in every arena, tributes from legends and rivals, emotional final home games in Dallas where every shot felt like history. He walked off the floor a living, breathing legend. And in 2023, the journey came full circle. Dirk Nowitzki was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, not as a dark horse or a sentimental pick, but as one of the greatest to ever touch the game. He stood alongside Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, and Dwayne Wade. Friends, rivals, champions. Fitting.
That is so cool.
Poetic. Dirk was humble, grateful, reflective. He thanked Holger. He thanked Dallas. He called his career a dream. He didn't just earn a spot in the hall. He became a permanent part of the game's soul.
I've had so many great lessons taught to me by incredible teachers, and you will find them too. Remember, when you're green, you grow. When you're ripe, you rot. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Dirk didn't rewrite history with headlines. He did it with silence, with patience, and with a fadeaway that never cared who was guarding it. In a league that rewards the loud, he whispered his greatness. 1 foot off the ground, one banner raised without a second star beside him. No super team, no drama, just devotion. From Würzburg to Dallas, from outcast to icon, Dirk Nowitzki gave the game something it rarely sees. Loyalty without condition, greatness without ego, glory without shortcuts. And when it was all over, he didn't wave, he didn't speak. He just turned and faded away, the same way he always did. If you guys want me to break down another player's career, let me know in the comments down below. And if you made it this far, do me a huge favor and hit that like button and subscribe. Not for me, but for Dirk. And a little for you. There's a couple videos on the screen right now that I think you'll love. Thank you guys so much again for watching, and I'll see you.
Okay, first of all, Kenny, yeah, the link is down below for this video if you want to check out the channel. I thought this was a great breakdown, great video. All that out of the way, like, man, I swear, if you win one championship the hard way like this, we'll never forget you. You know, just like Giannis will never be forgotten. Unless he spends the rest of his career ring chasing, then it'll be like, oh, okay, you know, like we'll remember him a little different. But a guy like Dirk who did it the right way, and you only won one championship, like you were a legend forever. Like nobody could ever take it away from you. And I think of like comparing it to somebody with 2 championships, which is Kevin Durant. I don't think Kevin Durant, when it's all said and done and he's gone, I don't think we're gonna remember him with the same kind of respect. You know, there's going to be 2 sides to it. Oh, well, he couldn't win without going to Golden State. He couldn't win with his team. You know, he ring chased, built all these super teams, you know, in Brooklyn and Phoenix and yada, yada, yada. And he could only get 2. While Dirk, even though he only got 1, it'll always be like he got 1, but he got the most impossible championship ever. Like the hardest run I can think of to win a championship, he pulled it off, and he had to go against the biggest super team we've ever seen in order to win it at the end. Like it's just a story. Nobody could ever take anything away from Dirk, and it's coming from a guy who thought that he was a choker, you know, because it looked like for a couple of years there that Dirk was just broken, you know, mentally broken. But he came in, he proved me wrong, and I'm glad he did. And I'll never speak about him without speaking with respect. You know what I mean? He has earned that respect, and you just can't take it away, you know? And then as opposed to like another guy who won 2 championships, Hakeem Olajuwon, I'm sorry, you guys, I'll speak for myself. I rank his 2 championships way above what someone like Kevin Durant pulled off of this 2. Like, to me, it's a no-brainer. Anyways, you guys, this is probably a really long video, but I was really into this one. This was a really good time. Hopefully there's some of you who stuck around and watched the whole thing. If you do, y'all are awesome. Everyone, I'm gonna head out. Leave your comments down below. We'll have a talk like we always do. And yeah, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. And most importantly, is to be water, my friends.